Well, alrighty then. Alrighty, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Odyssey Life. I'm Bernie, and in today's episode, we got two Honda Odyssey Fl250 carbs on the bench. We're going to rebuild them both with our kits from oddatv.com. We're going to slap it on our first gen in hopes of fixing our massive vacuum leak that we have, which is probably one of the O-rings that go inside the carburetor. Yeah, then we're going to take her for a ride to the local car wash for her first wash and ride in almost a decade. So, all right, folks, big day planned here in the Odyssey Life garage. So, let's get to work. Alrighty, gang, here we go. We got two Fl250 carburetors sitting here. Let's start with this one. Now that we have our freshly rebuilt Fl250 carburetor, Scott on the Odyssey Life Facebook group says these are so easy to rebuild, his granddaughter can do it. We sure love to hear that. So there shouldn't be any problems with you guys rebuilding your carburetors out there, right? Anyway, let's go ahead, slap this carb back in, get it running right. All right, guys, let's get her done so we can have some fun. Alrighty, gang, now that we got our fuel, got gas, I primed the system, our cap's on, we're ready to go. In fact, let me double check. Yep, we're ready to go. Our carburetor works just fine. Let's go ahead and give her some pulls, see if she's gonna idle normally for us. I know we might have to play with the idle screw. It doesn't give any recommendations for how many turns on that. Let's give her some pulls and let's see what happens. Alright, guys, that's great news. Let's go ahead, let's turn our idle down a little bit. Let's see if that helps us. Alrighty, gang, it's a new morning. We ended yesterday realizing with this stock tank not being plumbed in, it needs a fuel pump, it needs the stock system, it needs new lines. I mean, this is the vacuum line, and it's just, you know, it's just bolted off with a bolt. It's never going to run correctly if it's not properly plumbed in. So what we're going to do is, even though we should have done this from the beginning if we wanted to get this machine running right, we investigated this tank in a previous episode. We stuck a bore scope in it. We saw that the tank is solid on the inside, so we're going to remove it. It's just those two bolts up there and then two bolts under here. I'll show you as soon as we get there. And then we have that tank sitting right here, It's got the part on it that we need, which is the petcock. We have another petcock over on that machine if we need it. We're gonna see if this one works. We're gonna clean it up, unbolt it, take it off of there. And if that one doesn't work or whatever, then we have that one over there. We're gonna rob Peter to pay Paul, and you know, in hopes of getting this one returned back to the stock system. So let's go ahead, let's get started and pull in this stock tank out so we can clean her out, clean all the passages, and get our petcock put in, and then get our fuel system plumbed in. It's a lot of work, but if we want this machine to last and we don't want it cobbled together, you know, we want to have her running reliably, then we need to do our best to get her back to the stock fuel system. So, all right, folks, big day, a lot of work, but we can get her done. So let's get back to work. So those right there are our 2 bottom fuel tank bolts. Those 2 bolts right there, we can take those 2 out, and then we can try to wiggle our tank out. Hopefully we can get it out. Alrighty, gang. Now we're ready to push the cage over and liberate our fuel tank so we can continue forward with putting in the new fuel system. We got to clean this tank out, clean out our pickup tubes and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and lean this cage over and get this tank out. All right, let's take it over to the bench. Let's start cleaning it up. Stale fuel smells worse than rotted death to me. This smells so bad. I don't know if that's coming across well to you guys or not, but that looks like 24 karat gold welding. Whoever had this machine at some point cut the bottom out of this tank and brazed it back in. Look at those welds. It looks like 24 karat gold welding, stacking dimes, brazing. I'm gonna clean the rest of that up. I would love to clear coat that. The things you find and the things people did to keep the machines running back in the day, that is so amazing. All right, guys, let's move forward with plumbing in our new fuel system. Bam, and just like that, we're back. What was a snap of a finger for you was over a week for me. All that waiting was for parts to finish this build, and plus our beloved dog Izzy wasn't feeling very well, and my mom went out of town this weekend, so I was tasked taking care of our little girl to make sure she'd make it through the weekend, and very happy to say that she did, and she's very well loved. So thank you to all you that said all the well wishes on the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. If you haven't been to the Odyssey Life Facebook page, you can head over there, join, become a member. It's the home of no attitudes and egos, and we'd love to see you there. So anyway, as you can see, we have all the accessories off of our tank. I did install our petcock. We have no idea whether it's going to leak or not, but in the meantime, before we go putting all the new accessories on that we have in our box that we're going to get into in a minute, I have our we're going to look down inside of our tank before we get in the box, you know, to put our new accessories on the tank. And we also got a brand new intake and gasket from oddatv.com, and we're going to throw on this bad boy as well. Seal up any possibility of a vacuum leak we want to get rid of. We want this thing to run perfect. So, all right, lot of things going on. We got a lot of parts. We got a lot of things to do. So let's start by making sure our gas tank is up for the task. So, all right, let's get into getting into our gas tank. Alrighty, we got our bore scope. We'll get over the hole, just right there. It looks clear in there, and the rest of the bottom looks good. Overall, it's not a bad tank. So we're going to put our inline Wix filter, and then we're going to plumb in our tank. All right, folks, as we look down inside of our tank and we see that everything's all right, we can go ahead, get all the accessories put on, and then we can get the new intake and all that, get this thing buttoned up. It feels like spring out today. Hopefully we can get this done and take her to the car wash. All right, let's get her done. All right, now that we look down inside of our tank, let's set our tank off to the side for a second. We'll put it over here. We'll look at our package from oddatv.com. The only thing we didn't get from Joe was this Wix filter, but you can go on oddatv.com. He has the part number for the aftermarket filter. All right, let's see what all we need out of here. Ooh-wee. This is like Christmas. All right. Fuel pump, three-way valve, gasket. Yeah, that's everything. We already have a brand new spark plug in there, so we're good to go. All right, I'm gonna throw these parts back in the box, because that's everything to get the other Fl250 running. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead, get our tank back up here and get back to reassembly. All right, let's do it, guys. There's our intake. As you can see, our clean intake port in there, but off to the left and the right, you see the two 10mm bolts. We're going to go ahead and pull them out, pull that intake off. Right there below it, that's our vacuum port, our crankcase vacuum port. That's what we hook our fuel pump to. And that's where the vacuum comes from. That creates the suction to feed the machine the fuel, and that wasn't hooked up. We just keep digging farther and farther into this beast, but I think it's about time we update all this stuff so we can, you know, ride our Honda Odyssey ATV. All right, let's do this. All right, the intake is off. A little bit of the gasket material stuck, as you can see right there. Right there to the right, and right over there to the left, a little bit of gasket material stuck. It looks pretty good in there. So, all right, let's go ahead. We'll clean up that surface, and then we'll throw our new intake on real quick. All right, let's clean that surface up. Our intake surface is clean. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna throw our new gasket on, put our new intake in. That was super easy. All right, guys, let's get this done. Our intake is installed clean with a brand new gasket. So now we can return over to our tank, get all of our accessories installed on the tank, all plumbed in, and then we can put it back in the machine. All right, let's get back to the bench. Let's get our tank plumbed out.
Yeah, tastes like magic.
All right, folks, now that we got this all plumbed out, everything's ready, we're going to go ahead, stick it back in the frame. I've got all the hardware ready, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and reinstall this, and then we'll tighten down all our cage bolts. All right, you guys can watch me do that in time lapse. All right, guys, let's get this reassembled so we can go for a ride. Well, I had to stop and have me a blueberry muffin and some coffee. But right before I did that, we got our vacuum line fit in there, and then we can go ahead and run the line and do all that. Then we can put our carburetor in and run the final line for the carburetor fuel, and then we're done. Then we can put some fuel in, prime the system, and see if this bad girl's gonna run. All right, guys, we're almost done, but I need to finish my muffin first, and then we'll get back to work. All right, guys. Alrighty, gang. I don't even know what to say after all that hard work. Our tank's back in. Our stock fuel system's plumbed back in the way it was. I've got a Gatorade funnel here. So let's go ahead. Let's dump some fuel in, and let's see if our tank's going to leak and if we can get our system to prime. Let's do it. We don't have any fuel leaking out of our petcock. Hopefully we put enough fuel in it to make it to the petcock. So yeah, let me go ahead. We're gonna prime the fuel system. Let me get you in here so you can watch. I can't tell if we got any fuel to the carb or not. You guys were watching, so all right, let's set the tripod up and let's start pulling. Alrighty, gang, moment of truth. Is it gonna start? Most importantly, is it gonna idle? So let's go ahead, let's give her some pulls and see how we're gonna make out. I don't know if my arms are up to it, but let's go ahead, give her some pulls, see what's gonna happen. All right, let's turn the choke off and let's see if she's gonna run normal. I'm gonna go ahead and do my throttle trick. Keep the throttle on for us. Well, alrighty then. All right, moment of truth. Are we doing a top end on this machine? Let's find out. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna put our throttle full open. All right, let's see how much compression we have. You see it right here, we got about 95. Let me pull it one more. Let me see if I can get some more pieces out of it. Gonna go ahead, pour this clots into our cylinder and see if we get a better number. Guess we don't want to put our spark plug down inside the gas tank, do we? That would have been terrible. That would have been a bomb. We would have blew up the Odyssey Life garage. Holy hell. What was I thinking? All right, let's pull this beast. See if we get better compression. Alrighty, folks. Guess there's no sense to keep pulling and diagnosing and everything. Everything I read says it's a low compression issue. There's a big difference between 130 and just barely 95. That affects how much vacuum we're creating, and it doesn't surprise me that this thing is 46 years old. You know, every two-stroke needs a fresh top end every now and again. We'll be rebuilding this one. And this is a good segue into the Odyssey Life engine building series we're going to be starting. And we'll get into points of condensers and everything else. And all that other hard to troubleshoot stuff that everybody always, is asking questions about. All right, folks, I guess that's our video of the week. We didn't get to the car wash, but I guarantee this baby's not getting any cleaner sitting in this garage than it was in the garage we pulled it out of. The difference is, in this garage, it's going to get a new lease on life, come heck or high water. So, I guess that's our video of the week. And as I always say, if you're riding, stay safe, wear a helmet, and don't forget, it ain't work when you're having fun, guys. And it definitely ain't work when you can go through the troubleshooting process and find out what the issue is, and say you learned something, and now I know what low compression can do to an engine. So I guess yeah, we've done everything we can do here, so I guess I'll see you next week, unless the whole universe falls apart because some experiment gone wrong at the Big Hadron Collider over in Switzerland, and one day we wake up and up is down and down is up, and walking out the door to work means you actually walk out your door back into your living room like somebody shook the snow globe. But I promise, when the snow settles in that snow globe and everything gets right side up again and we all regain our senses, I promise I'll see you then. All right, folks, see you next week. I'm such an idiot.